Yo, Potato of Science here, and I've been doing some research on transgender, and it's really hard to find non-biased information out there. Uh, just like it can really be for anything, to be honest. Uh, and trying to find more factual information, honestly, a lot of the factual information I'm able to find is actually supporting transgender. It makes sense, and it's not hateful. Now, there are a few very hateful transgender opinions out there, who are so heavily against other people, hating on them, when it's okay, I understand. I was against LGBT at one point, 2 years ago, myself. But that doesn't mean, you can hate them. You shouldn't hate either side, especially with something that is so based on intuition. And there are two things that I find as the biggest debate. Is one being they're not a real man or real woman. They're mentally ill. They are just sad, psychological problems. And it's have you not noticed that I'm not saying all, because there is such thing as regretting transitioning, and that's just a chance you have to take, because everything is a chance in life. Hell, life is a chance all on its own. And and the two things that are different between a trans woman or male or a cis male or woman is that transgender people cannot reproduce, and they're still stuck with their chromosomes. One, there are other cisgendered people out there who are unable to reproduce. Does that make them any less of a woman or a man? I think not. Two, are you looking at my chromosomes? Are you that judgmental on how different someone is that you're willing to judge their freaking chromosomes? Now, I get it. If they're pre-transitioning, they're before any surgical stuff, that makes sense. I don't want to touch that, because that is murky water, and that's treading water I don't want to tread. I'll stay out of that, please, because that can be very controversial if you're somewhere in between. But if you have the sex change, or at least if you have full intentions of completely changing sexes, why does that matter? Does your opinion of how different we are override the fact that we should do something that we think might actually help with our happiness, with our self-esteem? For me, doing things to be male makes me happy. It makes me actually feel real. For once, it makes me... It just feels right, and it's one of those intuition things, and that's where it gets really difficult. The second thing that drives me insane, and I am religious. I'm very complicated, I'm not getting into that either. Is people who say you can't be transgender and Christian. Well, have fun arguing with God when he's asking you, so why did you tell people that they could not believe in me, or whatever? You're just well, they were transgender. Seriously? Here's my point of, are transgender people really excluded from being Christ followers? I think Christ would have eaten dinner with a transgender person. Right or wrong, if you are telling someone that they cannot be Christian for them just trying to feel something besides hate for themselves, and they're just trying to find their own home self, that sounds very unchristian-like, and I don't know what God you're following, but I'm not following that one. Uh, just going out there with that, and it's just, to me, it's like, why does it matter? Why does it matter that what we do to ourselves, and just ourselves, we're not doing anything else to anyone else out there. You know, the only thing is the bathroom thing, and that's just controversial, and I don't want to tread that water, because I know that can be complicated, but once they have transitioned, they're not that different from any other male or females. And so why the hate? Just because we're trying to feel more home with ourselves. Just because for once we feel good. Like ourselves. Like we finally found our place in this world. Why do chromosomes so tiny? Why does the tiniest difference make that difference? I think that's the real problem here. It's like I said before, the reproduction thing, there are other females and males who can't reproduce. And this is, of course, after sex change. So, yeah, it's sad to see